at 1-800-340-7091. Visit our website, 5starsoap.com, for buying our 1 to 2 month soap sampler. Thank you.
You've heard Alex explain how the Silver Lungs generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced colloidal silver solutions, yet many are unaware of the entire function of the Silver Lungs system and how it has been designed to deliver your silver solutions anywhere in or on the body. My name is Mario Cifaldi, and I'm the developer of the Silver Lungs generator. Not only does the Silver Lungs system produce endless colloidal and ionic silver solutions, it also comes equipped with the proper applicators and devices needed to deliver your silver solutions directly to key target areas. This includes the eyes, ears, nose, lungs, topically to the skin, and orally for the digestive system. Be sure to watch our new 7-minute video tour of the Silver Lungs system at www.silverlungs.com to learn more about how the Silver Lungs system works. As well, we are always ready to answer any questions you may have. That's www.silverlungs.com.
This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
What if I say I'm not like the others? What if I say I'm not just another one of your plays? You're the pretender.
All right, Jim in Germany, Kevin in Arizona, David in Washington, Richard in Vermont, Steve in Ohio. I'm going to go to all of you very quickly. But then I want to only open the phones up for nuclear physicists or nuclear disaster relief people, folks that have worked in nuclear power plants, to give us your view, your perspective. We got Gerald Celente coming up in 30 minutes, popping in for 10 minutes of that interview at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Bob Bowman, nuclear physicist, former head of the Star Wars weapons program. And talking to him, he says, yes, it's a major disaster. Obviously, some stuff's been released, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's been a full meltdown of the reactor itself. I don't know. I'm going to ask him on air if he's seen Fukushima number 3 blowing up this morning. A mushroom cloud, sky high, black wreckage shooting straight up. You see the containment outside blow out, and then straight up. I mean, how could anything survive that? How could any of the other plants around it survive it? I don't trust government. I don't trust the Japanese government, to tell the truth. And they've been caught lying, saying there was no meltdown going on Friday or Saturday. Now they say a meltdown did occur. That's mainstream news. A bunch of other newspapers are reporting that they believe a cover-up's going on. We read those headlines earlier. Now, this is a little weird, but I've been getting a lot of questions about it from listeners. And it is a lengthy video. It's titled March 11th, 23 Events, Signs and Evidence. And they talk about this comet, ELENIN, coming between the Earth and the Sun, scheduled for tomorrow. And again, I had Piers Corbin, top astrophysicist, on with an incredible prediction rate, saying he does believe that the giant moon, that's what it's called when the moon's the closest to the Earth it had been since 1992, controlling the tides, but also the magma under the crust, coinciding with that massive solar flare that hit on the 11th, right before the earthquake, that he does believe that's what triggered it. So that's a real scientist saying that, and a lot of other news has been asking, did the supermoon cause it? ABC News 2 weeks before asked, would it cause it? We read that headline Friday. But planets aligning, a lot of scientists believe, also causes things to go on with the magnetic fields. I don't know. But you got to give this woman due, because on March 8th, when this was uploaded to YouTube, the date doesn't lie, it's got the timestamp on it. It's 9 Nana is the name of the channel. she gets into all of this, and people are freaking out because she said, if you're near a fault line on the 11th, get out of there. And I actually was shown this on the 9th and laughed at it. But I'm not laughing now. Here it is.
Okay, it looks like it could be March 11th through the 15th, I'm thinking. So I would recommend that if you're living in a fault zone area, take a vacation before March 11th. That's what I'm recommending. That's what I've been recommending for 3 months. I don't even live in a fault zone area, and I'm going to make sure that I have my emergency gear packed and ready to go before this hits. Something is going to happen, guys. It may not be the grand pole shift, but something's going to happen. So I have some more information for you that I've put into this video. So okay,
folks, and then she goes into the Ides of March and things like that. The ancients always thought that was an unlucky time, especially with planetary alignments. I don't get into all of that, but I thought, since I was getting a lot of questions about that, I would play it and comment and say, you make up your own mind for what it's worth. We will post as a tile this video, the March 11, 23 event, signs and evidence, if you want to hear the whole thing. But I did have a top astrophysicist on saying the moon being close to the Earth, the closest it's been in 19 years, along with that solar flare hitting, creates a major fluctuation in the magnetic field of the Earth that then affects the magma that is under the crust. So very, very interesting on that front. Let's go to your phone calls. Again, recapping, the Fukushima #1 had a huge explosion Saturday morning. I said, looks like that'll probably cause more damage and problems for the emergency efforts, and they admit to stop the other 5 plants at that facility from melting down, the other nuke reactors. This morning, Fukushima #3 blew up with what looks to the eye about 10 times the explosive power, mushroom cloud, metal being ejected out of the middle, big black pieces of equipment that are gigantic, multi-stories tall. I hope that the reactor core is safe. I can't imagine how it would be in the middle of that. I can't imagine. And again, the meteorologists are on record, Fox, AP, you name it now, saying yes, the prevailing winds go right to the U.S. West Coast and the Canadian West Coast, and it could be anywhere from 3 days to 5 days before this starts hitting. And there's more reactors. We have maps up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. There are more reactors that are having trouble in Japan, not just at the Fukushima facility. And I'm talking about the chain reaction that could happen there. So Bob Bowman, nuclear physicist, said that he's not sure that the rods have been exposed. But on Friday, they were saying there was some melting in the rods. He's saying, but hopefully it's not as bad as it could be. But I don't trust the Japanese government. I don't trust our government. And I don't trust our media to warn you. Up on Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, DrudgeReport.com, there's mainstream articles about in Europe. They're grabbing the iodine off the shelves. But before you take iodine, read them, talk to your doctor, research it. But, they've got it as a dietary supplement for thyroid health. They say 2 drops a day for the average person with the average dose. But, I'm not going to give you advice. I'm telling you what I've done. In fact, I got to take my dose today. I've been taking it the last few days. Took it on air yesterday. My children are taking it. Let's talk to Tim in Germany. Tim, you're on the air.
Hello from Germany.
Yes, sir.
Always a pleasure to listen to you. I frequently listen to you from Germany. And regarding the situation with the prevailing winds bringing the stuff possibly to the United States, I would like to put out the question which you could put to your experts later possibly, if it would make sense to have, for example, the Evergreen supertanker, that fire extinguishing plane, being sent over to Japan and trying to create as much cloud condensation nuclei by spraying water, not on the reactor, not very close to the reactor, but...
Absolutely. The meteorologists can definitely, and they are, tracking day to day where this stuff's going. They could have planes go in, targeted above it, put nuclei in to make it rain into the ocean. That's a great idea.
And what would be interesting, if you look, I've looked up some on the internet. I called the Evergreen guys last night. It was night in Germany at that point. and suggested it and left message on an answering machine there after the desk person put me through. And don't know if that's ever going to turn to something. Looked further up and found on some boards that would be considered by the normal informed people at conspiracy stuff that Evergreen might be involved in chemtrailing as well. So it might be interesting to see if they would react.
Tim, what do you think about the Japanese government trying to claim a meltdown hadn't happened Saturday, but then 5 hours later admitting a meltdown had occurred, and many nuclear physicists here are still on the fence saying a meltdown might not have occurred? Even when the Japanese say a meltdown, at least a partial one did occur, people are still in denial.
Meltdown is meltdown. It doesn't matter if it's partial or not. The moment you lose the cooling or the controlled cooling of a reactor, that thing is going to heat up, as far as I understand the nuclear science with that. And it's going to burn itself into the ground, or it's going to blow up. If it's going to blow up, it's going to create quite a bit of dirty air and aerosols, which are currently mostly going to blow your ways. If they make it to the upper atmosphere, that's going to be even worse. So you've got that volcano in southwestern Japan that went off, I think, yesterday or last couple of days.
Yes.
It became quite active again. What if the next one opens up? There's quite a bit of hypothesizing that can be done with that.
Well, we just showed a photo on screen after the explosion of the fire at the plant, and it's up on Infowars.com in the tiles. I mean, it is giant black plume, thousands of feet in the air going out to sea, and it's undoubtedly, admittedly, has cesium and radioactive iodine, so we know that's happening. And I read physicists from Hurwitz and others saying it's very toxic, very radioactive. We pray the uranium doesn't get out there. Thank you so much for your call from Germany. Let's talk to Kevin in Arizona. Kevin, you're on the air. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, Alex, I was wondering what you thought about hydro energy turbines, like oceanic turbines, as opposed to nuclear energy, just an alternative.
I think it's a great idea, and people make fun of Al Gore for it, but one of the few things he says is true, he exaggerated the temperature, is geothermal, drilling down into the earth and powering steam turbines that way. But the best thing we got going is clean-burning coal. All it puts out is carbon dioxide and water vapor, and that's why they're trying to shut that down.
Yeah. I think the combination between the oceanic hydro energy turbines, and then you could have the wind power turbines coming off the top of the thing, the combination of the two, I mean, you could put thousands of those things out in the ocean around Japan instead of having 58 nuclear reactors sitting on a fault line. I mean, pretty soon that island is going to be completely, I mean, the whole country is going to be completely uninhabitable one of these days.
Well,
sure. I mean,
you know what happened with Chernobyl and the nearby city of Kiev in Ukraine? Everybody just basically stayed there. And the deformities are off the charts. The cancers are off the charts. And so the Japanese aren't leaving their homes. They're just going to stay there. But the problem is, if all 6 of these plants go up, I mean, watching the footage of Reactor 3 blowing sky high, what do you think that's going to do to the other reactors?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, you're going to see more of this as time goes on. And it's just going to get worse. And their area of evacuation is going to get bigger. I know if I was living there, I'd get as far away from it as I could, even if I had to take a life raft to Hawaii. I mean, you know, whatever it took, I wouldn't stay there.
All right, I'm going to jump here, Kevin. Thank you so much. David in Washington, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. Yeah, I've got bad news and worse news. The bad news is that there was a cooling pool of spent nuclear fuel rods, yet still highly radioactive, that was next to unit number 3 that undoubtedly got taken out. And the really bad news is that particular unit, Unit 3, used plutonium in addition to uranium as the fuel, and the consequences you can imagine.
Explain what that means.
Well, plutonium is much more toxic than uranium, and it differs from Unit 1 in that Unit 1 was uranium only, so there's more bad stuff out in the environment, and I can see why the U.S. immediately moved the USS Ronald Reagan the heck out of there. It was 100 miles away to begin with, and they moved it even further away.
All right, I have been scanning all the news, but it's coming in so fast I was unable to read that. Where did you see the news? Because I know the plants vary there at that facility. Where did you read that this was a plutonium plant?
Sure. I'm looking at the